The KCPE results are out, and we're having parents and children crying on national television. It's sad that it's 2023 and national exam results are still being seen as catastrophic. You know, a bad result is the end of it. But even worse, learning that they are full of mistakes. Anyway, let's start the video. Hello people, this is Kcpe and welcome to our classroom. Let's have this conversation. The budget for 2023-2024 allocated for education was 628.6 billion. That's 27% thereabouts of the total national budget. Are you doing the math? We have the Ministry of Education has the Directorate of Quality Assurance and Standards that caters for some of these things. They monitor not just education and curriculum implementation, but they also monitor assessments. Any results that come out are always checked by that directorate. So it's very shocking to hear and to see parents and students and schools, just teachers in general, complaining that the marks their students are getting are not the actual marks. I've been a teacher for years, and you can tell, you know your children, you know the people you teach, your students, you know if they've been getting 300 marks, it's very likely that in the final exam they won't deviate too far from that. It's unheard of, unless somebody was, critically ill, to move from, getting 400 marks to ending up getting a 280 marks. It doesn't happen. It's not possible. So what could have gone wrong? A number of things, very, very many things could have happened. And the biggest thing that experts are pointing at is data entry, because we know they're trying to be more technological. Results are being sent via mobile phones, and very many critics are against that. But data is data. We do data entry for everything. I don't want to sound political, but we have systems that work in this country and in so many ways. Why isn't it working for education? And the thing about education is, just in case you don't know, we've had people who have fought for education with their sweat, their blood, and their tears. For us right now to have the kind of education that we have and the kind of education that our children will have. I'll give you a brief history of the evolution of Kenya, the evolution of education in Kenya. And we know the colonialists started coming to Africa. We had this Istanbul and partition of Africa beginning in the 1800s. And the British colonialists were particularly interested in Kenya in the early 1900s. So when the railway line started at around 1895, and it was arriving in Nairobi at around 1901, a lot of labor, a lot of work, a lot of resources were being used. And we know at this particular time, education was being run by the missionaries who had come here to spread religion, Christianity in this particular case. So when the missionaries came, their main agenda was to teach people how to read and write, and just understand the Bible, right? So that was their main agenda. When now the colonialists started coming, they were interested in the labor, in the vocations, because the Indians were the ones building the railway line, but it had become very expensive. It was not sustainable to keep bringing Indians all the way from India to come build the railway line here in Kenya. So what did they do? They said, no, we need a commission to change education in Kenya and make it more suitable for this market. And that's how education started. And that's why, back you could hear those stories of, kids never wanted to go to school, only the laziest and, the worst kids in the community were being sent to school. Okay? Because nobody had seen the value of it before that. So the Fraser Commission started, yeah, this was in 1909. Professor Nelson Fraser was heading this particular commission. And of course, the main thing was we need education, but we don't want the Africans to get the same kind of education as the whites, sadly. And schools were segregated. So we had schools for Indians, we had schools for Africans, and of course, schools for the British. And it was this commission that established the Department of Education. It wasn't called the Ministry of Education at that point. Okay, so here we have now education starting with very, very few children going to school. Remember, at that time, we had the missionaries had come up with 6 schools. We had the very first school, which was in 1846, yeah, in Rabai. Then came in 1902 the Prince of Wales, yeah, Nairobi School. And then we had other schools like Friends School Kamusinga came up in 1903. Other schools like Maseno, Tumutumu, and Jamhuri High School were coming up at that time. I don't remember the colonial name for Jammu, but if you remember, please write it for me in the comment section. But yeah, it was one of the schools that had those names. So when this commission came up, they decided, no, we need more schools. And so they came up with 6 other schools. There was WA School in Kwale. Most of the schools are still there. There's Kenton College. There's, what am I forgetting? Kenya High School came up at this time. There was also Mangu High School, Kaba Boys High School. Those are the schools that are coming up after the establishment of this commission. So after that, education has started in Kenya. In 1924, the 1920s were very popular with Hollywood. The Americans were gaining a lot of popularity, a lot of power. And so the Phelps-Stokes Commission came up and they decided to appoint an American to lead the commission, who was Jones, J.C. Jones. Yeah. So Jones comes up and says, okay, we like the fact that your schools are racially segregated, but, from their background of slavery and so on, they realized that educating girls and women was very, very important, especially if you need labor, because if mothers are, dying while giving birth, then you don't end up having a population. You need numbers, for them to give you the labor that you need. So that's what happened. They commissioned for more girls and women to start going to school. This commission talked about having more teachers trained, and they're the ones who advocated for education to be more vocational, and also English to be the main language of instruction in the upper school. So that's how it started. Then come a few years after that, after 1924, we go now to 1949, where the Beecher Commission comes up. The Beecher Commission, of course, being led by these guys. What was special about 1949? It was 1 year, exactly 1 year since the UDHR, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, that was made by Eleanor Roosevelt. So now there was this hype about having equal rights, every person must have a right to education. And so, yeah, this Beecher Commission was formed. And there in 1949, they discussed and they're like, okay, let's make education a bit more focused on these Africans. Let us give them the kinds of things they want. So let's add more funding, let's train more teachers, let's build more schools. And they became very positive about helping, us as Kenyans to just have more access to education. This was the commission that brought about the BOG. Nowadays we call it BOM, the Board of Governors. They said, schools need to have, it to be a bit more delocalized and to take care of themselves. And they brought about even more scholarships. People could have applied for scholarships to go into high school. Did a great, great job, Then come the Beans Commission of 1952. Prior to that, the previous year in 1951, a whole commission had come because there was going to be the Cambridge Conference of Education. So a bunch of experts come here, and if you dig deeper into the history of education, you will know when education started, even in the 1800s, it was not being run by education experts. It was being run by, the clergy, just people in the society who had a say. So these guys were part of that group that came to Kenya. And they were here for 6 months, looked at the whole thing of situation of education, and they came up with a number of things. And being informed that this is the point where Mau Mau came up. So the Mau Mau uprising started in 1952, and again we had the state of emergency declared on the same year. So these guys have come, and they're like, hey, yeah, after the previous commission, no, you have empowered these Africans a bit too much, yeah? Let's push it down a bit. So when the Baines Commission came up, they said in their recommendations, let us remove Kiswahili from schools, because Kiswahili is a uniting factor. When very many people are speaking Kiswahili, this is why now we have all these people coming up and trying to fight for their freedom. So that's what happened. Kiswahili was abolished. Another thing they came up with was they criticized actually racial discrimination in schools, the segregation. They also said that agriculture should be really important in our schools. So some of these things were happening, and they came up with so many other recommendations. I'm not able to list everything, but most of these things didn't come to pass because that was the year where the state of emergency was declared, and many of them were running away back to their countries. So moving down, we get our independence. In 1964, we had the Ominde Commission, yeah, led by the famous Professor Ominde of 1964. And in that commission, they now totally abolished racial segregation. But because we were in the mood of Jamhuri, and we are our own state, we have our own Madaraka, their main focus was on making everything national. So we had now our national schools. They insisted on the national anthem being sung in schools, and the national flag to be in the schools. They established the East African Examination Board. Yeah, they did quite a number of things. Then moving on, in 1976, they felt that there were just growing concerns that education is still not very customized to us. So the Kcpe Commission of 1976 was formed, and they made a few recommendations, and the commission that made Kenyatta University become now a university. It was a teaching college before that. They're the ones who established NEC, yeah, Kenya National Examinations Council. They made Kiswahili compulsory in schools. They're the ones who said that, and Kiswahili had actually been brought up by the Ominde Commission before that. Okay, and now it was being made compulsory. But now a vernacular language was still to be the language of instruction for lower primary. And also, they were the very first commission actually to bring up free primary education. So we had FPE way before that. Moving on from 1976, now we have the commission that has brought us to this particular video, which was the Mackay Commission. Mackay Commission comes up in 1981, first because of two major things. One, we still didn't have very good access to higher education. The Kcpe Commission made a few recommendations about that. The Mackay Commission, on the other hand, now made it very, very established. They're the ones who came up with more University. They said, no, we can't have two universities. We need another university that is a bit further from Nairobi so that people, mashinani can also have access to higher education. So they came up with that. Another thing, okay, and also because many people were also going out of the country to access higher education. Then this commission realized that now more and more people are educated. So what happens when more people are educated? Because we were being educated so that we can be clerks, we can be secretaries, we can work for the colonialists. Now we need people to actually be the job creators. We need entrepreneurs. We didn't have enough jobs. The rates of unemployment were going up. So the Mackay Commission said, no, we need an education system that will make people create jobs. And that is how the 844 came up. So we moved from the 9423 to 844. 844 came with amazing recommendations. It had all these many subjects to cater for different talents. People who are being taught vocations, carpentry, piloting, plumbing. So it was not just for white collar jobs, but also blue collar jobs. So there was a lot to do with engineering and the likes. So that is what the McKay Commission came up with. And they came up with very many other recommendations, but we'll stick to those two because that's how now we got what we're talking about today. And at the moment, we are in the phase of CBC, the competency-based curriculum, which, if you do the comparisons of 804 and CPC, they're more or less the same, except for a few other things here and there that were not there. But if you look at the groundwork, they're literally the same thing, just clothed and packaged different. What mistakes did we make with the 844? First of all, it came and it was in a hurry to be implemented, like it has to be done now, 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 now. So there's a few things that had not been implemented. Okay, same thing we are seeing right now with CPC, being pushed, being rolled out in a very, very quick manner. So we won't go into the nitty-gritties, but if we can follow and implement these policies, because they are brilliant education policies that we have in our country, then we will be so far ahead of very many nations out here, and we'll have, we'll meet the goals of education that we have as a country. And look at some of the things that have come up. After having the free primary education in 2002, we had so many kids going to school, people even who were able to go to school as adults, and we've had award-winning movies based on that. Again, 2008, we had the free day secondary education. Very many children were able to go to school. These are amazing, amazing policies. However, we do know that they have affected the quality of education because they were not properly planned and they're not properly done. Can we just look at this? So now we are seeing children and parents crying because some errors were made. We have had, even in previous years, where parents go and appeal, marks change, to even the extent of up to 100 marks. How does that even happen? These are things that need to be taken seriously. Look at it from the point of view of that child. This child has been going to school diligently, working hard, because academics is their thing. In this channel, we advocate for everybody to do what is their gift, what is their talent, what they're actually meant to be. You said, follow your purpose. What is your destiny? And if that child's destiny was to, excel in academics, we should not, take away that right from them. Just do our due diligence. Look at the marking. Same thing. Every time things are rushed, a few mistakes are bound to happen. However, we have, examiners. We have chief examiners who do an amazing job. But there needs to be somebody monitoring very keenly every single paper that's being marked, every single data that is being entered onto the system. We need to be in a way where every single result that comes out has been scrutinized and people are able to stand and confidently say, yes, we have checked and we are sure that these are this particular child's marks. And it's that simple. And then these children will not be crying on national TV and asking questions that are really, really hard for adults to answer. These children are supposed to be taken care of. They've done their job. Their work was to study. We tell our kids that all the time. You have only one role in this world, and that is you need to go to school and do well in your studies, and that's it. But now that's what they've done. But someone somewhere has made a mistake. It is a shame for such a country. We are an amazing country. We are powerful. And myself as an educator, it's a big letdown because what are we doing? It seems like it's the teachers who are not doing their job. No, it's not. So even the parents have paid school fees. They have paid a lot of money even for that exam to be sat. They have taken care of their children. You're told, buy a new mathematical set, they've bought, buy new this, if they go to high school, you need a calculator, there's just so many things that parents, it's an investment in their child's education. So what do we do about that? They need to be rewarded. We cannot have such an investment going into waste. Because these kids are going, their results determine which schools they will attend in high school. Because Form 1 selection has already happened right now. And if the child has gotten wrong marks, where are these marks? What's happening? How is it that we're seeing in the top 20 that it's basically almost one school that is appearing throughout? What is going on? We really need some proper quality assurance to be done. Look at it from the point of view of the teachers. They have worked hard. And if you teach a candidate class, you literally work your life around that. You're there giving them extra lessons. You're there after school, you're there on weekends, and you're trying to give them your very, very best. And then now you see such things happening. We are seeing on the news some children have not been eating, they have not been sleeping, they're crying throughout. That is not the whole point of assessment. Formative assessments are just for us to gauge our learners and to gauge the quality of the curriculum. If the curriculum is not working, then we go back to the drawing board and do something better. We don't see this with other curriculum. We don't see it with other examination bodies. Why are we seeing it here in 2023 in Kenya? It does not matter whether we are a developing country or not. We have 628.6 billion shillings, budgeted for our education, just educating our children, nothing much. And our public education, our public sector really needs to do better because that money is a lot. Our taxes are going into that just to make sure that our kids do much, much better. How come, when other results are coming out, we are seeing very many parents taking their kids to the international system because of such things? Because, how come those guys don't have such drama when results are coming out? The results come out, you don't see all of that hullabaloo. We see, children go to school. There's no text message. They do not get an email about, with their results. No, you'll only get maybe a communication from the school that results are out. And usually it's sent way before that, being told on this particular day, results will be out. And if you look at the timeline between when the exams were sat and when the results are coming out, there's enough time. Because if the last paper, the first paper is done around end of April. I'm talking about the IGCSE. We have, and even the International Baccalaureate, starting in April, the last exam tends to be late May, early June. The results come out when? In August, around August, between August 10th to August 16th. You have literally 2 months for papers to be marked, to be assessed, properly monitoring, and results, data just to be entered and analyzed. 2 months. Why are we trying to jump the gun here? Why are we trying to just put ourselves under a lot of pressure to come up with great results and analysis in such a short amount of time? My question is, why are we in a hurry to declare results and announce everything in such a short amount of time? The KCP started on 30th of October, ended by 1st November. Then we are told exam results will be released on the 30th. Comes back, we're told no, they'll be released on the 23rd. Okay, 23rd to 1st. Those are literally how many? 3 weeks. 3 weeks. 3 weeks are not enough to mark, to enter data, and to analyze, and to just monitor and make sure everything is okay. Why are we in a hurry? And then we end up making so many mistakes, and then now parents are appealing, we are back to the drawing board, other things have to continue. It's just a mess. Let's take things slowly in a proper manner, just to make sure we're not going to mess up someone's life at the end of it, because we know the value that these national exams have. The KCSE results will be coming out soon. Are we also to expect the same, I don't know. I don't know. It would be sad for the same things to happen. We can do better. Honestly, we can do much better as a country, and let's work. Let's really work towards that. And the thing is not to run away from our public education. The solution is not to move from our National Examinations Council to a different one. We need to change our own. We need to make our education system work for us. The long and short of this is, in my view, yeah, in my opinion, please don't quote and say this is, no, this is my opinion. I feel more time should be put in just to, first of all, enter the data. If we push people to enter data so quickly, there's bound to be some mistakes. So that can work. Also, the system, because the system can be overloaded. Those are so many scripts, so many marks, for it to handle. And yeah, things can happen. We have technological hitches all the time. So if we can have more time, then some of these things can be solved properly. And also just overall logistics of this entire situation. We can do better by just giving more time. I don't know what you think. I'd love to know your views. I know this is normally not the kind of content I would give out, but if you like this, please like, and click on that like button, share it with somebody, and also subscribe. Thank you for the guys who've been subscribing lately. I appreciate you wherever you are. I hope I've given you some insight into the world of education, and just like the way we fought for freedom, education is a right that people have fought for, and we cannot sit back and watch it go down the drain and forget that people's sweat, blood, and tears have gone in to make sure that we are able to have the good quality education that we have today. So thank you for staying with me until the end of this episode. I hope you loved it, and I hope this has been a lesson that you won't forget. I'll see you in the next one. I'd like to wish you happy holidays. Bye-bye.